Hello, and welcome to the Archives, a very special episode of the Archives. I'm here down at my local gaming shop. I'm going to be taking part in a Netrunner tournament today. That is correct. I'm going to be doing a little bit of filming here on my phone. I apologize if the quality is not up to par, but I'm going to be doing some filming here between each round of the tournament that I play in, letting you know how I did. Maybe a couple of thoughts if I have the time. It's all dependent. But, and here's the fun part. I'm going to be also, once I get home later tonight, I will be doing some, doing up my deck lists that I played in this tournament and running through them as well. So look forward to that. I'm going to leave things here for now, and I'll see you again after the first round of Swiss. We're recording. Okay, so first round of my Swiss is over. I've lost both matches, mostly because of not getting my economy out as quickly as I could for the for my corp, and the runner I wasn't probably as aggressive as I should have been. Plus, I was kind of going against my own corp deck in a way, and I know what that's capable of. I may have been a little hesitant. So that's looking interesting. But I lost every game the last tournament I was in, and I was completely fine with that. So we're going to be going on to the next round of Swiss here in a minute, and I'll let you know how I go. So, my second round of Swiss, that was a bye round. So I didn't play anybody, but I technically won, quote unquote, both of those rounds. My third round I just got finished playing. Again, I lost both of them, but I still have fun. That's the amazing thing. I still have fun, even though I'm losing. What else? There is some... I'm noticing that my money isn't coming out for my corp. Maybe it's just a bad luck of the draw, perhaps? I don't know. My runner was doing considerably better with money, but I was hitting programs for the guy I was playing with that was just trash a program. He had a very good deck set up. He was very much a pro player, and I am not. So that's it for this round. I'll be back again to talk to you for the next round, which hopefully will be soon. We lost again, both times, but the first game was a long, drawn-out slog. I didn't quite manage to get things going the way I wanted, but I almost did, and I kept the runner from wanting to run because of tags in my NBN deck. But we ended up running long. We had 15 minutes, and I started running, and it ended up being a timed win for him. He got one agenda scored before the end came, which is pretty good. I quite enjoyed it. It was fun. I still can't get my Reina deck to go the way I want it. I may have to look at tweaking that. Anyways, we're going to go see what's happening with the next. All right, so that's it. That was the last round, the 4 rounds of play that we did. They announced the winners. The others are currently playing. The top 4 are playing each other in an elimination tournament to see who gets the top 4 prizes. However, I did get some acrylic brain damage tokens, which was pretty cool. I got a political operative alternate art card. I picked up one at the last tournament I was in, so now I have 2 of those. Hopefully I can get a third. That would be fantastic, because then I could have the complete set, 3 different art. So that's pretty cool. And what else did it happen? Oh yeah, I also got a Chaos Theory alternate art card. I will show you them in a little bit there. Once I get home and actually do the part where I talk about my decks. So yeah, it was a super fun day. I enjoyed myself immensely, even though I lost. The last game I played went on forever. We only had 15 minutes left to play for me to play the runner, and sadly I couldn't could manage an agenda against a deck that had probably 6 agendas in it. I'm pretty sure there was a there may have been a government takeover in there somewhere, quite possibly. I don't know. It was pretty hard. It was pretty hard. So pretty low agenda deck there. But yeah, it was a good time, and that's what matters. As long as I enjoy myself playing. So I'm going to leave this here, and we'll cut over to me talking about decks and my 2 decks that I played. So I'll see you in a bit. All right, so you've seen my horrible, lovely videos that I shot on my phone. I'm sorry for the quality or the sound or any of that, but that's what I had to work with. So, welcome to this part of this very special Archives episode. I'm going to talk about the decks I was running. First off, we're going to dive into my NBN deck, which we were using the super wonderful Haarpsichord Studios Entertainment Unleashed with the 45, I believe it's 45? Let's just double check that just to be on the safe side. 45 card deck minimum, 15 influence. The runner cannot steal more than 1 agenda each turn. Now, that is very, very integral to the strategy that I had for this deck. And it didn't quite work out, I think mainly because I could not get an economy going. The one game that I did get an economy going, he kept trashing it fairly quickly, which I didn't quite like. So sadly, that happened. But anyways, that is my identity. Yeah, it's a 49 card deck that I have with 20 agenda points, and I only spent 2 influence points. Both of them that I spent was for agendas. Now I'll get to the agendas in a minute. That'll be the last thing I tackle. I want to tackle everything else that I had first. We'll start with the ice. I had 9 sentry programs, 6 code gate programs, and 6 barrier programs. We had the hunter ice neutral, 1 to res, 4 strength, trace 3 if successful, give the runner a tag. So I had 3 of those. I also had 3 Gutenbergs, which is a sentry tracer, 2 credit to res, 3 strength, but it has plus 3 strength while protecting R&D. 3 guesses where I stuck that. It does trace 7 if successful, give the runner a tag, and that is a lovely amount of trace. Almost guaranteed to give a tag to the runner, unless they can break the subroutines. Then I had 3 Data Ravens, because this is an NBN deck and you always have Data Ravens. Because Data Ravens are Ice Sentry Tracer, Observer, 4 credit res. It's a bit more expensive on the res cost. Strength 4. But as soon as a runner encounters Data Raven, they either have to take a tag or end the run. There's no other way around it. Then it has Trace 3 if successful, place a power counter on Data Raven, and the power counters, you can spend 1 to just give the runner a tag. These were my 3 sentries. You may have noticed they're all tracers, all to give the runner tags, because again, this is NBN. Then I had 6 code gates. I had 3 RSVPs, which is a code gate ice of 3 credits to res, 4 strength. The runner cannot spend any credits for the remainder of this run, which is nice. I had 3 of those. I had 3 TLDR, too long didn't reads, which is 1 credit res cost, strength 4. When the runner encounters the next piece of ice during this run, that ice gains a 2nd copy of each subroutine on it after the original subroutine for the remainder of the encounter. So you just double your subroutines on anything. There's a reason why I had those. Then I had the barriers of Pachinko, 1 credit to res, 4 strength. You may be noticing a pattern here. Very cheap ice to res, very kind of low end strength, because it wasn't it wasn't really designed to keep the runner out entirely, but I wanted to make them pay to get through some stuff. But this has 2 and the run if the runner is tagged. The pachinkos are the first things I need to get out in my strategy and then put trace ice in front of it, because then it becomes effective. I may switch out the barriers that I have for something else. I don't know yet. The other 3 barrier pieces of ice I had were TMI, too much information. 3 credit res, 5 strength. When you res TMI, trace 2. If unsuccessful, de-res TMI. And that cost me money during one particular game. More than one, because they're like, I force you to res that. So I spend the 3 to res it. Didn't have much money else to boost the trace. That they had money to pay up the trace and pay up their link strength, I should say, to avoid the trace. So I de-resed it and it didn't do anything. So this one, TMI and Pachinko may be getting switched out. Possibly RSVP as well. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm going to play with this deck some more. Then I had some operations, which all sort of relied. One of them didn't rely on being tagged. One of them was there to give tags. The SEA source, Space Elevator Authority source. 2 credit operation. Play only if the runner made a successful run during his or her last turn. Trace 3 if successful, give the runner a tag. I had 2 of those. I had 2 All-Seeing Eye, which is play only if the runner is tagged. 1 credit operation, trash all resources. The runner can remove 1 bad publicity to prevent this. Then I had exchange of information. 2 of those. 0 credits to play, only if the runner is tagged. Swap an agenda in your score area with an agenda in the runner's score area. Now I'll get back to that in a minute. I also had 7 assets. This was my big money making that I had. I had 3 pad campaigns, 2 credit res, 4 credit for the runner to trash, gain a credit when your turn begins. I had 2 marked accounts, 0 credit res, 5 credit trash. When your turn begins, take credit off marked accounts if able. Click ability of place 3 credits on it. And Melange Mining Corporation I had 2 of. 1 to res, 1 to trash, 3 clicks to gain 7 credits. These were my money cards. I may have messed up when I picked them, but these were the money cards that I picked. Now, here's where the big strategy came in that didn't quite plan out for me the way I was hoping, but I had fun with the deck. Because I had an upgrade, 3 upgrades of the old Hollywood grid. 5 credit res, 4 credit trash. Agendas accessed from this server cannot be stolen unless the runner already has a copy of that agenda in his or her score area. This applies even during the run on which the runner trashes Old Hollywood Grid. Limit 1 region per server. Now I picked that Old Hollywood Grid. It's Haarpsichord Studios. And I have only singles of every agenda in my deck. I have 12 agendas. None of them are doubles. Which means it's impossible once Old Hollywood Grid is up and active for the runner to have a copy of an agenda in their score area and steal another one, because there's only one. The ones I picked, I used Award Bait, Kronos Project, Explodapalooza, Global Food Initiative, Market Research, Private Security Force, Profiteering, Quantum Predictive Model, TGTBT, Vanity Project, Veterans Program, and 15 Minutes. So the entire strategy I had behind this deck was to get agendas out. Hopefully let them steal like maybe a 1 point, or possibly, if I had things set up properly, I could let him steal the Vanity Project, which is worth 4 points, or Global Food Initiative, which is worth 2 for him but 3 for me. Private Security Force, Explodapalooza, Market Research, any of those that are worth more than 1 point. then I would have a 1 point agenda in my score area already, so that I could get them tagged, play exchange of information, and steal the higher agenda. If possible, have 15 minutes in my score area. Give them 15 minutes, take the higher one, then trigger the 15 minutes click ability to steal it back and shuffle it in. That was the general idea behind it. The only problem was I couldn't get my economy out running on it. So I ended up not really managing to pull it off satisfactorily. Sadly, because I enjoyed playing it. I may tweak the deck and still kind of keep it in a similar fashion just to see how I can manage to get it working. We shall see. Anyways, let's move on to the next particular deck that I had, my runner deck. Now this is a Reina Roja deck. I had 10 influence out of 15 spent, 49 cards. I had cards up to Salsette Island in this one. Reina Roja's particular ability is the res cost of the first piece of ice resed each turn is increased by 1. 45 minimum card, 15 influence, of course, 1 link strength. I had the deep red, 3 copies of it, obviously, because it's Reina Roja. You need your deep red for your Kaisa programs. Because I tried to do a full Kaisa deck with her. It didn't work out the way I hoped. I also had 3 EMP devices. Now, deep red is +3 memory unit. Using memory units on deep red for Kaisa only. Whenever you install a Kaisa program, you may trigger its click ability without spending a click. And the EMP device is a bomb hardware, 1 credit. You trash it, and the corp cannot res more than 1 piece of ice for the remainder of the run. You can only use it during a run. So, what else did I have? Well, I had 3 Deja Vu cards for the events. That I can add a card from my heap to my grip. So that was to pull back some stuff that I couldn't pull back any other way. I had 6 exclusive parties. That is one of the limit 6 per deck cards. 0 credit event to play. Draw a card, gain a credit for each copy of exclusive party in your heap. So the more copies of exclusive party in your heap, the more money, and you still get a card every time, but the more money you get each time you play it. I also had 3 making an entrance, which you play only as your first click. Look at the top 6 cards of your stack. You may trash any of those cards and arrange the rest in any order. So that's good if you pull a lot of exclusive parties. You can trash the first couple of them, and then you're making money. It's worth it that way. There's also other reasons to trash stuff as well. I also had 3 run amok event runs. Sabotage, 3 credits. Make a run. When the run ends, trash 1 piece of ice that was resed during this run. Now, I had it set up that I kind of wanted to be able to play run amok once I already had an EMP device installed. So I play run amok, lets me make a run, and the corp knows one of the pieces of ice that they res is going to be trashed. Then before anything happens, just as the run's beginning, I trash an EMP bomb. They can only res 1 piece of ice this turn, so it ends up being that you basically look at the corp and go, okay, which piece of ice do you want me to trash when this run ends? One of your good ones or one of your not so good ones that I can get by? It's up to you, because it's getting trashed regardless. So that leads for a fun, interesting quandary. I wanted to do that. I also had 2 hard at work, which is 5 credits to res resource. When your turn begins, gain 2 credits and lose a click. And 2 adjusted chronotypes. The first time you lose a click, each turn gain a click. So once those 2 are out, you're just getting 2 credits at the beginning of every turn for free, which is nice. I had 2 human first resources, 1 credit res. Whenever an agenda is scored or stolen, gain credits equal to the agenda points on that agenda. 2 Katie Jones as well, 2 credit res. I love me some Katie Jones. You cannot use Katie Jones more than once per turn. Spend a click to place 3 credits from the bank on her, or spend a click to take all credits off her. And I had 2 Xanadu. Virtual resource, 3 credit res. The res cost of all ice is increased by 1. So that, coupled with Reina's ability, means the first piece of ice, the res cost is up by 2, and every other piece after it is up by 1. Then you have my icebreakers. I had 1 black cat, which is a fractor. It breaks barriers. I also had a corroder that breaks barriers as well. It all depends on which one got out first, but I wanted to have at least 2 barrier breakers in there. I had 2 force of natures, which are decoders to take care of code gates. And I had 2 ninjas, which are sentry breakers, to let me break through sentries. Then on top of that, I had 3 knight programs, which are the Kaisa programs. Knight is the only one of the Kaisa programs that let you attack ice. You can host ice. You can host knight on a piece of ice and spend 2 credits to break subroutines on it. It's strength 7. So it's pretty potent. Then I had 3 bishops, which you can host on a piece of ice, and the host ice has -2 strength. You have 3 rooks, which you can host on a piece of ice, and the res cost of each piece of ice in the server is increased by 2. So you get a rook out, plus a Xanadu, plus Reina. That's increasing the res cost of ice, the first piece of ice, by 4, and every other piece of ice in that server by 3. So that can be handy. I also had 3 pawns, which you host on the outermost piece of ice. Every time you make a successful run, you move it to the next piece of ice directly after it. If you can't move it anymore, trash pawn and install a Kaisa program from your grip or heap. Pawns are the ones that you install and kind of keep for when you need to bring a Kaisa program, back from the heap. This was my Reina Roja deck. And I knew going in it was not going to be competitive. Not even a little bit. But I wanted to give it a shot. I wanted to try and build a true Kaisa deck, because I've heard no one's been able to. It's just not feasible. And I'm like, oh, I want to do it. I want to give it a shot. But I think that they're right, and it's not going to be feasible. Which is sad, because I really, really like Reina Roja. I love her concept. I love the thematics behind it and everything. But so it goes. So it goes. But yeah, those were my two runners. I probably should have picked or my runner, I should say. Probably should have picked a better runner than Reina, or at least a different runner combination with her programs, so that she would be more competitive. But I like trying new things. I like trying things I know aren't going to work just because it's fun. And Reina is Reina takes a lot of setup, because you really need to get the knight, the bishop, the rook, the pawns, as well as possibly a corroder, a force of nature, and a ninja up. So you need to have like 7 programs up already in terms of getting her, as well as her economy going, EMP devices. It's just a little bit of a tricky, finicky deck, and it really didn't work, but I still enjoyed it. So that's gonna be it for this little episode. I hope you enjoyed watching, or at least hearing about my exploits, and possibly hearing about my decks. If so, thank you so much for watching. Please, as always, give that like button a tap if you would like to, if you like what I'm doing. Give the subscribe button a tap as well if you haven't already, so you can be kept apprised of when I do new things. And throw a comment in the comment section. What do you think about my decks? What did you think? Do you think I could make some changes? What do you think I should do? Which ones do you think I should take away or put in? Give me some advice. I'd like to hear from some people. I'd like to talk to people, especially ones that do like Netrunner like I do. And until next time, my friends, remember, keep running.